This is the program where we champion and celebrate the people and organisations who make a positive difference in their world. Each week on this program, we'll take a first-hand look at the work of Aussies who go out of their way to make a positive difference in their community. We'll assemble a panel of social and community leaders to discuss various topics that relate to our everyday lives, and we'll invite you to join the conversation at helpinghands.tv. When we think about making the world a better place, we can get caught up in thinking that we have to do something different, something out of the ordinary, something that we don't do every day, and that we have to make a drastic change to the way we live. Well, the good news is that is not always the case. By making a small change to the way we spend our money, to what we buy, we can all play our part to help the fight against slavery, to help ensure people are paid fairly for their work, and to show people across the globe that we, here in Australia, are prepared to sacrifice a little for the greater good.
Got everything you need?
I think we've got everything we need.
All set up?
Just about set up.
Just waiting to go.
Yep.
Okay,
Great.
that's
Thank you,
wonderful.
Barb.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Matt. It's my pleasure to welcome you today to the Fair Trade Market at GBC. So many different colours and flavours here, lovely things to buy and see. Welcome and shop big. Have a great day.
Fair Trade Market is where all the stall holders, as you will see, bring products that come from other countries, and it's all 100% slave-free. And that's what we're wanting to do, to help support other countries and lift them out of poverty. We have about 18 stalls here today, and they range from all sorts of home goods to clothing, and there's a great array.
We're a group of businesses, an association of business members that are all about supporting the mission of fair trade, which is to alleviate poverty through fair trade practice. So instead of a charity model where you're giving money, you're actually empowering people to build their own businesses and to work with them in a fair trading way. So that means paying them well, ensuring that they've got good working conditions, but primarily it's about giving access to market for disadvantaged producers that may not otherwise have access to our market here in Australia. Imagine that you are somebody living in Sri Lanka and you're making these brushes. They can't make much money just selling that to their local community in Sri Lanka. But if they have access to market here, we can actually help them to build their business, build their community that helps to bring them out of poverty.
I'm here today just to do a bit of shopping, and we saw the ethical trade, so we thought we'd come in and have a look. Just appreciate what we've got and what other people don't have, you know. And if you can help them out, well, you know, and just make an even playing field in the world. Like, I think it's just, you know, sometimes we forget of what we've got, and then other people struggle just to make a little ornament to something for their everyday needs to survive and live and buy food and buy all those things that we take for granted. I think if everyone did one little bit along the way, I think it all adds up to a bigger picture, and then hopefully they have a better life.
Well, we're selling lots of things from Africa and Madagascar and Cambodia. Japanese porcelain, and so these are the artisans that are here. So they actually hand cut everything and then they make the silver. So yeah. His name's Shrang, and he's actually making these beautiful rings that are just here. Okay, so this one here is actually this one here. So these are the samples that he's made for us, and we've got a whole nother order coming. They cut the pieces of porcelain, and what we actually then do is we tell them what we'd like them to be in, so whether it's brass or silver. And every pair of earrings or jewellery or necklace that they make actually helps support their families. So, and you know, each piece is a work of art. So not every earring is actually a pair identical. But, you know, every piece tells a story. People want to relate to people, so if we can tell the story, sometimes the story is more important than the product. So people fall in love with the story and maybe fall in love with the people that actually make the product, and then they go, oh great, that's fantastic, I love that basket, I love the story, I love the lady, let me take it and support that person. The fact that everything's handmade is a bonus because, you know, so many things are made in factories these days, particularly with fair trade and also in third world countries. That handicraft skill is being lost. So all of our fair traders here are actually here to help keep the handicraft alive. So rather than a person going to work in a factory, they might get lower pay. If they're working with their handicrafts, then the handicraft will be passed on from generation to generation.
This is my thing, right? Because I am really pale, so it is about this bit here. Buying a fair trade hat, one of the things I love about it is it's not necessarily like some completely, you know, off a factory line. I think people should be paid fairly for what they do, and it has such a massive impact on their day-to-day life. So, you know, we're very lucky, I think, in this country. Yeah. So it's the least we can do.
Coming up after the break.
It's about people having a better life.
They should have the same opportunities.
Karen, your coffee. Fair Trade Market has been an annual event here at GBC, and here we're all about showcasing a social context of purchasing and making very social decisions about where materials and labour is used to generate products that you might buy elsewhere.
I really like fair trade at the ethics of it, so it's something that's really important to me. You can live a much more ethical life. I really try not to buy anything that's not fair trade. So I've got a bunch of stuff in here. I've got myself a new chopping board, oven mitt, so I've got my kitchen set up nicely now. That's one of the Indigenous ones. This is this great company, Better World Arts. I've got a bunch of gifts for my daughter. This incredible bracelet from Colombia. These are some sorts of beads they collect off the ground and then turn them into these bracelets. And I think it's something that she'll really like, but more than that, it's about people having a better life. You know, it's about not having to suffer. I think my father's got a really interesting story growing up like dirt poor. When I originally heard this story of how my father grew up as a child, I really understood the true meaning of the words or the phrase dirt poor. And so you don't want people to have to grow up like that. So this helps contribute to a better world, giving people that slightly better life.
This is a fabulous opportunity for us to sell our products and for me to be able to support those women in Uganda. The reason I really started was everyone's so desperately poor over in Uganda. It's about 50% unemployment. Well, I guess I'm part of the mix. I'm part of promoting fair trade, talking about, you know, people should be paid fairly for their beautiful work. They spend a lot of time making it, and why shouldn't people in Uganda have the same opportunity, earn money like we do in Australia, be able to properly care for your children, and you know, they're just the same as us. They have the same hopes, the same aspirations, and they should have the same opportunities to be able to live a full life.
Hello again everyone, it's great to see so many of you here at GBC's Trade Fair. We'll be doing little interviews throughout the day And right now I'm here with Kim from EcoMax.
All my products are fair trade and they're handmade by women in Sri Lanka. I work with a group of women over there and I have been doing for about 12 years. You know, fair trade is how everybody should do business because it's so important that you know that people are getting paid the correct wages, transparent supply chains and things like that. It's just been a wonderful project being able to be involved with our women in Sri Lanka.
My name's Barbara and I represent an organisation called Palestine Fair Trade Australia. These are absolutely stunning. So these is all embroidery, handmade embroidery. They're made by women, mostly refugee women in Gaza, from an organisation called Sulafa, which is funded by the United Nations. This is a cushion cover and you can see, the exquisite amount of work that goes into something like this. The more we sell, it's like any other product, the more you sell of something, then the more the money goes back to the women, and it is women who are making this stuff. Every little bit that we can help financially is of assistance, it's a good thing. And because they're fair trade, we know that the women are getting a better wage for the work, and it's a lot of work that goes into these products.
I would say to someone who hasn't considered buying ethically, just to think a little longer about the product in their hand. Someone had to make it. Like for a t-shirt, for example, you know, the cotton had to be grown, someone had to pick the cotton, then transport the cotton to a factory and then make the t-shirt, and then it gets sent to the store. And I feel like explaining the process to someone really helps put in mind how things just don't appear in the store. And so just thinking about how did this product get here, and then knowing that it was made safely and ethically, I think is the most important part.
If the overseas artisans were here today to see their products being sold, I think they wouldn't be able to believe it. They'd be over the moon to see the things that they have made being bought to make a difference in their lives.
If you are a helping hand or would like to see a helping hand from your local community featured on this program, visit our website and be in touch. We'd love to hear about the people and organisations across Australia who are making the world a better place.
To find out more about the positive impact the fair trade movement is making in Australia and around the world, visit our website and follow the links to the Fair Trade Association of Australia and New Zealand. Welcome back to Helping Hands. Each week on this program, we pull together a panel of community and social leaders to discuss a topic or issue that is relevant to our everyday lives. Our goal is for you to be empowered to make a positive difference in your circle of influence and within your tribe. Today, Amanda Rose, Graham Cowan and Justine Toe join our host, Laura Bennett, to discuss resilience in the workplace.
In the studio with me today, we have Amanda Rose, Founding Director of Western Sydney Women. We've also got Graham Cowan, who is a resilience author and the Founding Director of Are You OK? And also Justine Toe, a Senior Fellow at the Centre for Public Christianity. Thank you guys so much for being with us. Now let's start with you, Graham. You speak with CEOs in the Caring CEO podcast, a number of different business and community leaders. When you're wanting to create a community, a workplace of resilience, what does that actually look like?
Well, it's really underpinned by care, having a caring environment. And I think the best CEOs champion self-care, crew care and red zone care. So it's looking after themselves, looking after their teams, and also looking out for those that may be struggling. And if we get the care right, that then leads to resilience, and we get resilience right, that then leads to growth.
Right, and Amanda, when we look at what you do with women in business, you're very passionate about that. How does a culture of resilience facilitate the work that you do?
It's really important, especially for women. So, you know, women are quite nurturing and they have a passion to help, and they also take things personally. So it's really important that they're resilient themselves, because then they can help other women become resilient, and they can also handle quite a lot. And you need to, especially when you're reaching out to help others, whether it's in business, because, you know, let's face it, the business world is quite difficult and women want to be financially independent. So being resilient is actually one of the core fundamentals of a successful business.
Now, Graham, probably should have asked you this question. Give us your definition of resilience. How would you really sum up what it means to be resilient?
I think it just is really the capacity to bounce back. And if you get purpose and meaning right, that's a core element of personal resilience as well.
The difference between men and women, boys and girls, how we each deal with resilience. Justine, how would you look at that? Where does resilience differ between the genders?
I can't speak for men, but I think for women, that knowing that they don't have to have everything figured out, but that they can still kind of like do the work and turn up and care about people, and then that will make its own contribution. I think that is a real thing that we need to tell ourselves as women, but also that we need to create in the cultures around us.
Graham, let's get you to weigh in on the male perspective then. What does resilience look like from a male perspective?
Many men, and myself included in the past, pretend that they're fine. You know, they don't like to talk about having issues. They've often been socialised to be able to sort it out themselves, to be real problem solvers.
What do you think it takes to get guys to open up a little bit more?
I think it's often, you know, stories from other people. You know, the people around you have a really big impact. And through my own experience, I've often shared my story. And when you share your story, it gives people permission to share their story. And that's how it really happens, quite frankly. If you show vulnerability, other men respond to that and say, oh, me too. And so it does provide that opportunity to have that mutual support.
Amanda, when you look at the work that you're doing from a professional career point of view, does our ability to be resilient really impact our professional career success, do you think?
Oh, it does, because you're not holding on to so-called failures. You know, you're not taking them personally, you can move on. And I think we need to accept that it's normal to go through hard times, that reality is hard to face, and that it's normal. So going through a difficult time or a difficult situation isn't something that is just happening to you. Life is hard, right? It is not all fun and games, which social media wants to tell you it is. It is difficult. And when you see that as baseline, that it is difficult, then you can put mechanisms in place to survive, and then you can, you know, succeed in your career and enjoy the little things a little bit more, instead of thinking I have to succeed at every single thing that I do. And I think that makes you feel like a failure, but it's okay. Hard times are good, they're healthy, right? But don't hold on to them. So don't hold on to things that have happened in the past, learn from it and move forward.
And in whatever our work environment looks like, each of us then have a responsibility to help create these environments of resilience, these places where it's safe, it's okay to talk about the challenges that we're facing. Justine, if we wanted to be better individually, each of us playing our part in creating cultures of resilience, how do you think we do that?
There is a tension, I think, between how much I can do versus how much am I subject to the systems around me. I do want to believe, though, that if we can create a culture of resistance, then that actually means that it's not just a top-down enforcement of you be resilient and this is how we're going to do it, but it's actually that all the colleagues support each other and there's a real culture of care.
Let's get a final thought from you, Graham. How can each of us personally become better at being both mentally, physically, emotionally resilient?
Well, I took that you've got to be a VIP or act like a VIP. And what that means is that from a vitality perspective, you make sure you get the right sort of exercise, you have good sleep, you eat well. Intimacy is about building emotional support around us, whether it's in our personal life or our business life. And those relationships are really our scaffolding. If they're really solid relationships, they can hold us up when we're feeling a bit vulnerable. And then the P is for prosperity. That's our sense of contribution. And some of us get it from our work, some of us get it from volunteering for a charity or a school. And so acting like a VIP is making sure that we top up each of those three glasses of well-being to keep us on track. It can't just be one, because it's like a three-legged stool. One's short, you fall over. Yep. So you've got to work at having all three in a good place.
Thank you so much for that. Graham, Amanda, Justine, thank you all for joining us. And thank you for watching.
If there's a topic that you'd like to see discussed on Helping Hands, visit our website and be in touch. We love talking about the things that make the world a better place.
Join the conversation about resilience in the workplace online at helpinghands.tv. If you agreed with our panellists, would like to ask a question or share your own experience about resilience in the workplace, follow the links to our social media channels or send us an email. I am thrilled that you have joined us today. There is so much good that happens in the fair trade supply chain, and there's no doubt that we can all play our part in this space. Next week, we will look at the positive social and environmental impact the fair trade industry has here in Australia and also around the world.
Let us know about the helping hands in your local community at helpinghands.tv. Send a photo or a short video and tell us about your local heroes in 25 words or less.
A special thanks to Amanda Rose, Graham Cowan and Justine Toe for joining Laura Bennett today, and thanks also to you. Jump onto our website, follow us online and subscribe to the show to stay up to date on all the latest news about the people and the organisations who make the world a better place. See you next week.